Hello, love, and welcome back. Today we are talking all things legacy and actually building something long-lasting and stable on a nice, strong foundation. So one of the biggest things, if you are a heart-centered, mission-driven, purpose-driven human, and if you're at all like me, who I personally grew up knowing that I was here to make a really big difference, and the biggest driver in my life had always been and has always been creating a positive impact and a positive ripple effect. And it used to keep me up at night. It used to drive a lot of my anxiety and overwhelm, a lot of my fear around choosing career paths in university was always just this deep core feeling that I was meant to make the world better. And I never felt satisfied if I wasn't doing that. So when I started my paper company and I was importing paper products from Sri Lanka made out of elephant poo and recycled paper, the reason I started that wasn't because of a passion for elephant poo, surprising as that might seem. It was because I had dreamed about working with elephants since I was a little girl. I had spent months at this elephant sanctuary trying to support the volunteer program and help make positive changes, make it better in how it operated, improve the lives and the quality of care for the elephants, but it didn't feel like it was good enough. And a huge part of me was like, Kara, you're meant for more than this, and you're being limited with your ability to impact from this place. And that is why then I thought, okay, well, what's something I can do from back at home? I can still donate and give back to the elephants. I can still support all of these things I'm passionate about. And this was like fair trade, empowering local women. It was all eco-friendly, organic, all the things, right? And I just felt like, oh, this is something that can make a bigger impact than me just staying here. And then moving into the coaching business a few years later and realizing like I've gone through such dark nights of the soul in terms of my own growth and grief and healing and life challenges, and I want to help other people and I want to change all these systems in the world, but I'm only one person and I know how much I like naps. I know how limited my energy is. In order to show up and be like potent and focused, I do require a lot of rest. And I knew I couldn't do it by myself. And that's when I realized, wait a minute, like all these tools I've learned over the years can help others. So if they're passionate about health, and if someone else is passionate about animal welfare, and someone else is passionate about education systems, right? If I can provide them with the mindset tools, the empowerment and confidence tools to stand in their power and clear out limiting beliefs and go step into that, then that's how I can create a bigger ripple effect and spread out and create a legacy or a bigger impact. But where I want to get into with all of this backstory is that when we're building legacy, it has to come from God. And it has to come from a higher divine power and not your ego. So the ego chases shiny objects. The ego chases quick fixes and quick validation, right? And we live in a society that right now is very much based around ego desires and satisfying the ego's needs for these quick hits and that dopamine hit, right? That's why social media is literally just designed for that, and it's causing a lot of problems in greater society because if we don't receive something immediately, we throw a tantrum or we give up or we collapse or whatever the case may be. Whereas God builds slowly and God focuses on foundation. So what I experienced in my own life and business is that I had started to put these programs together. I had started working with women and supporting incredible transformations. I felt really fulfilled in what I was doing, and like I was satisfying my need of like knowing I was helping people, because I'd see these clients getting incredible results and I'd be so excited about the ripple effect they were having in their careers and their communities and their families. And it was beautiful. But the way I had built it wasn't sustainable for me, because I was getting burnt out of the one-to-one and the group calls and the messaging support and some of the systems that I had created from my own naivety, also my own lack of boundaries, and also just the place I had started out from. And what became very, very loud and clear over the last year or two, I would say, especially since deepening my connection to God, because when I first built my original coaching program, which is my 3-month Thrive course, when I started all of that in the first few years, I was definitely driven by a connection to higher self and to a higher power, but I hadn't fully come into a remembrance of like what God truly is and my relationship to the loving, living creator. So as I started doing more of the quantum healing, hypnosis work, and really looking at the energetic systems and structures and the templates in place for my own mental constructs of myself and the world and money and business and impact and how all these things work together, I had a lot of humbling moments and a lot of really big ego deaths, we could even say, where I had to release the really tight grip I had created around myself, around what I was doing and how I was doing it, and release that grip so that I could move into something bigger and better. And this is where the legacy work comes in. And this might seem common sense, but I'm going to say it anyway, is that obviously building a legacy is about something long lasting and way beyond you. And typically the ego is very focused in on just you. And it's more your base survival needs, your base validation, right? Your base like filling itself to feel good and feel needed. Whereas a legacy is like, it's not about you at all. It's about the greater picture, the greater impact of all these things. So I had spent years thinking I'm doing this fully out of service and it's not about me. And yet my ego had so many attachments to it and to the ways I was showing up, or the numbers and the likes and the followers or the sales, as if that created validation, which meant that if I had a slow month, I crumbled and I collapsed into a low feminine pain body of just like massive unworthiness, because I was like, I'm nothing. If I'm basing my worth on sales or clients or money or likes and suddenly they're not here, then what am I even? Like, I'm a waste of space, I'm useless, right? And I would collapse and have these really humbling and very much needed ego deaths to release what my ego was clinging to as its identity. And as I started going through these, it became more and more clear, and my communication to God strengthened and deepened, where it was like, these things have to go. This isn't a healthy attachment. And in order to have the impact that you're here for, you can't be identifying it to yourself. You can't be basing your entire sense of self-worth around these things, because as I was being shown time and time again, if those things weren't supported or provided, then I didn't know who I was, or I'd collapse and I'd struggle for a few months to get back out. And it was like God was constantly showing me that the legacy needs like a solid foundation, and a foundation from heart and soul alignment, and not from ego drive or ego attachment. So that also meant understanding that, you know, sometimes good things take time to build. And you have to actually embrace the longevity of the process instead of chasing the immediate dopamine hit or the immediate results, and realizing that what you're building is a building block every single day to help get you to where it is you want to be. So before I get into any more, I do have a really powerful free hypnosis recording I would love to gift you, and it is linked in the description below. It's called the Legacy of God Hypnosis, and it's this incredibly beautiful process that I started taking myself through actually when I was in the midst of some of this healing work. And really, it's about surrendering yourself over to the divine and being that channel of like, I know I'm here to do big things. I know the avenue of what it looks like or what my natural gifts and passions are, right? For me, that is helping people, that is helping animals in the environment. It is also like writing and expressing and sharing in that way. Maybe for you, it's your unique way, right? But it's about surrendering so that you can open up and be the channel and receive that divine guidance to build with God. So where the ego is saying, go left, this is going to give you the immediate validation. This is going to give you the quick fix or the dopamine hit. This is going to help you fit in, right? Oftentimes God is actually saying, go right, go this way, follow me. I'm leading you. I won't let you down, and bringing you somewhere even bigger, somewhere even better. And if we're not willing to open up and trust that or listen to that guidance, then we end up in the patterns I was in for a while of just looping and repeating and hitting my head against the wall, being like, I'm working even harder, I'm trying another strategy, I'm doing another thing, I'm efforting more, I'm following the crowd. Why isn't it working? And why do I now feel like I have even less to show for all the effort that went into this, all the blood, sweat, and tears? And what I experienced was God saying, I don't want you to have success that way. You're not meant for that. You're meant for something bigger. So trust me, put your faith in me, listen to me, and I'll lead you. And it really was about me having to open up to that, to receive that, and to get pulled in that new direction. So what we see in society, I gave the social media example, but also with like celebrities or media or fame, right? Oftentimes we see people who sell their soul and suddenly they're making millions or they've got this huge platform, but they're not doing it with God. And we live on a very inverted planet, and I'm not going to get into it, but there is definitely demonic forces here. There is definitely evil, and it wants to entice you by pulling you to the quick win, the quick validation. It's sucking your life force away from what you're actually here for, and something that's like heart-led and soul-led and fully embodied. So I knew for myself, even though of course I wanted that, and of course there were so many times I was like, oh, I just wish it were easier, and like, what's wrong with me? Why am I not having the success that I want? Or what do I need to do to get there, right? There were totally those feelings and those thoughts, but there was also this deeper knowing that that wasn't actually the right way for me, and that if I just keep trusting, if I put my faith in God, if I keep taking a step at a time, I will get there. And it is going to be greater than I can imagine, because the canvas that God has been creating for me is way beyond what the ego can conceive. So we have to be able to put that aside and embrace the slow burn, right? One of my mentors said this the other day, and it was so resonant, and it had to do with how just like the devil or demonic forces promise you the immediate thing, right? Whereas God wants to actually shape you into the being. shape you into it. So it's not about giving you something. How easy is that to be handed it, right? But God is actually like, let me shape you. Let me mold you. Let me show you how strong you are. Let me show you how powerful I am and you are. Let me lead you into becoming the highest possible version of yourself. And the level of fulfillment that comes with that, although it also comes with moments of impatience and triggering, because you're like, I want it now. Where is it? But the fulfillment that comes from actually seeing the process. And I can say that of 6 years since I started my coaching business. And in some ways I feel like, wow, I have nothing to show for it. I'm not at all where I thought I would be. But then at other times when I actually look at all of it and I think of the lessons that empowered me to then create all of the courses I have now and the experiences I've had with quantum healing hypnosis, that had I not gone through this journey, I wouldn't have had that. I wouldn't have helped others. I wouldn't have built courses around it, right? It wouldn't have changed my life. So it was all perfect and it was all necessary. But when I look at that process, I can go, oh my goodness, actually God was giving me everything I ever wanted. It just didn't come immediately wrapped in a present with a gift tag and a pretty little bow. It was like wrapped with like, oh, you're gonna have like these big roller coaster ups and downs, and you're gonna feel on top of the world, and then you're gonna crumble and question yourself, and then you're gonna dust yourself back off and find me, as in find God even deeper, and you're going to ask for guidance, and you're going to learn to trust that guidance, and you're going to start creating from a power that is so much greater than just the human self and so much greater than the human ego. So building a legacy of God is truly about that process of expanding and deepening and being the divine being, or being the being that the divine moves through, being the open channel and the conduit for all this to be expressed from. And I can say that some of the coolest manifestations in my life were because of this, and because I was trusting that higher guidance, and I was like, use me, God, like, I know I'm meant to share this message. Help me bring it through. Bring it to the right ears. Bring me into the right rooms. Bring me into the right places. Like, let's get this published. Let's get this connected with other people. Let's create a place where this message can be shared. But I'm not doing it from my ego. I'm doing it from the openness to be the message, or to bring the message, or to bring the gifts. And that's what I invite for you as well, because what you're creating is so much bigger than you probably even realize. The divine has such an incredible plan for you, and of course it's going to support you in bringing it. So even when it's not happening immediately, or it feels like it's going 2 steps backward, like 1 step forward, 2 steps back, right? Or you feel like you're not getting there quick enough. You're so supported. You wouldn't have been put on the planet with this mission and this vision and all of these legacy codes within you if you weren't actually supported in creating it. So when you deepen into that connection, and that's where the free Legacy of God hypnosis can help, it allows you to really start walking through the world with that deep inner knowing and that confident embodiment of that's who you are. And that's who you get to be. That's how reality works now. So the link for the free activation is down below. This is also a huge part, obviously, of the Legacy bundle, which is one of my quantum healing hypnosis bundles, all about building a long-lasting legacy. It's with different hypnosis activations that I've used with clients that have supported them in manifesting millions of eyes on their business or their gifts, or having their first $1 million year and massive income growth, and anchoring in new levels of what they're here for, being able to purchase retreat center spaces and expand their impact that way. Also can be related to legacy with your family and the family unit that you're creating, And whatever kind of legacy codes are part of your soul's blueprint and your divine soul journey in this lifetime. But it's very much about how can you be the most empowered to hold it and stand in that, which also comes with a divine masculine template and rewriting the energetic signature towards masculine energy, as well as the feminine magnetism and embodiment and all of the creative power that comes from both of them. But being able to show up as that force to be reckoned with as God moves through you and brings this into the world. So if you want to dive straight into the course that helps you with this and get all the quantum healing hypnosis activations to assist you in that beautiful deep reprogramming of your subconscious and your energetic signature, your energy body, then that link is below as well. And I would love to support you inside Legacy as you create your massive impact and ripple out across the planet and literally out across the galaxy and the universe, because it's all energy and it's all connected. So everything you do makes an impact, for better or for worse. So please don't ever stop. Please don't ever doubt what you're here for, and please don't ever give up, right? Just keep opening to the Creator, allowing yourself to be the channel for that to come through, and surprise yourself by what's possible. I'm sending you so much love, and I'll see you again soon.